here with today's Life App, and I'm talking about how to maintain your life on track for success. And all of us are called to be success. We're not called to be failures. We will experience failures. I heard someone say failure is a brutal, ruthless, unrelenting teacher, and it is true. You can go through tragedy, man, you learn. And you can go through hardship, man, you learn. And sometimes we have to, and we create our own valleys by our own choices. I know that by personal experience. But that doesn't mean it's the end. It means that we are empowered to go forward. Someone said this, the harm is not making a mistake, the harm is making it multiple times. We should learn from our mistakes. Sometimes we make them more than once, but we should learn and let it be that relentless teacher that allows us to go forward. That's what life apps are all about. You know what? We're empowering you to be a success in whatever you've set your hand to. God may call you to business for a while, then ministry for a while, and then other endeavors. The truth is we're always in ministry. The words licentiousness are used in the scripture. It's a funny word, isn't it? But, this is what it says in Galatians chapter 5. I read in a previous Life app as well. It is absolutely clear that God has called you to a free life. And licentiousness is this, disregarding any law. That's not what God called us to. Just because we're called to be free does not mean we're called to totally disregard any moral law. There are people that are teaching grace, and this has gone on for, decades really, where they get into a doctrine about grace which essentially says no matter what you do, it doesn't matter because the grace of God covers it. In actual fact, they're correct. But scriptures make clear, do not use this liberty for an occasion to the flesh. That's in Galatians chapter 5. That is to say, don't disregard moral law just because grace is that powerful and pervasive. Yeah, it is. And that's wonderful. But it doesn't allow us to do that. Why is that? Because when we step outside the boundaries of legitimate moral law, even the laws of this land, there are consequences. In the previous app I mentioned about, well, if you don't believe that, go down some highway in Canada or wherever you live and exceed the speed limit. And just keep doing that forever until eventually somebody with those red and blue lights will stop you and tell you that you are accountable and issue you a ticket and other consequences, who knows what. That's just to illustrate that even though you're free, we still have parameters. And when we are free, we take responsibility for ourselves. We take ownership of our own weaknesses so that we stay under that covering and operate in liberty. Now, liberty is defined as this, legitimate freedom or the freedom to do that which is right. God gives us the choice to do that which is right. That will empower your life. You face choices almost every minute of the day. There are good choices and bad choices. When you face a restaurant menu, there's good choices, bad choices. You have choices everywhere. Freedom or liberty that the scriptures give us is the liberty to do the right thing, to take ownership. I went through a situation over 3 years ago. But one thing I did immediately, and I know this wasn't really communicated, sadly, those who were involved just didn't want to communicate any good news, but the fact is I took ownership. And the fact that Joan and I are married and doing better, I ask her frequently, Joan, would we be married if I hadn't taken complete ownership and made amends? And she said, no, we wouldn't be married, but you did. And so our marriage is prospering because I'm operating in the realm of legitimate freedom. I'm staying within the moral parameters that God has given me and the spiritual parameters. And in that environment, I can prosper. That's today's Life App. Stay in the circle of God's blessing and you will increase in the future.